Okay, take two. Said there was poor connection there. So, welcome if you are joining us live or for the replay. I am super excited about this IGTV live today. I am in just a few minutes going to be bringing on a very special guest who is actually my doctor, Dr. Tiffany Mullen of Vytal Health. And I started working with Dr. Mullen in the beginning of June. And now we're at the end of October, and I was just thinking about it, and I haven't even been on my treatment protocol. It hasn't even been a full 3 months yet, and I'm already experiencing so many awesome changes. So I am super Dr. Mullen on here. She is just phenomenal, so good at what she does, and I've really never had an experience. Oh, there you are. I was just talking a little bit about working together. Let me back the camera up. But yeah, I was saying it's been less than 3 months of being on my protocol, my treatment plan, and as I've shared with you, I'm already feeling so much better.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just so excited to have you here and to share all of your
Great.
magic and knowledge with my community. Yes. So welcome.
Thank you.
I always get the adjustment wrong. I'm never sure if it's gonna be here or I'll just lean back. That's good
I
anyway.
feel like I should probably adjust too. You can tell me.
No, you're
I'm
good.
still in
You're
my
good.
office, so.
Yeah. It's always weird on IG too. I'm gonna turn up the volume all the way so I can hear you.
Got it. Am I good? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I
Okay.
can.
Good.
Perfect.
Good. Nice
So
to see you.
yeah, so good to see you. I was just
Yeah.
sharing a little bit about working together, and what's really cool, you guys, about the Vytal Health team is it is virtual. So I'm like, I don't see how I could ever go back. Once you're like, you can just pop open your computer and hop on and chat with your doctor from home. It's like,
Totally.
it's so nice. And I'm getting the best treatment I've ever had in my life.
Oh,
To give you
awesome.
a little insight, I struggled with a lot of the issues I had been struggling with were like 6, 7 years with no real solutions and just kind of thinking that's how it had to be for me. And
Mhm.
then when I first met with the Vytal Health team, I was very open to trying something new. So we did some testing and everything is so customized. I have a bunch of friends now working with Vytal Health as well, and I know everyone is just obsessed and so happy.
That's so cool. And
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're feeling better. That is the most important thing. I mean, just getting somebody to feel better, that we live for it. So that's awesome. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, totally. Thank you so much. And to give you guys a little of the personal story, I was struggling with scalp issues. Like I had flaky scalp for years and had seen all these different professionals, and within like one session, Dr. Mullen was like, "I know exactly what to do," and set me up with something, and then hormonal issues too, some major imbalance there, and a lot of like really severe PMS symptoms, and then my adrenal fatigue, which if you guys go back, there is another IGTV where Dr. Mullen joined me and talked all about adrenal health and adrenal fatigue and all of that. So if you're experiencing that chronic fatigue or any thyroid, adrenal issues, a lot of times they go hand in hand.
Mhm.
Definitely go watch that. I know we had a lot of people who really enjoyed that episode. And now today we are going to be talking all about gut health, which is a huge topic that I think is a lot more popular. You hear a lot more about it over the past couple of years. People are starting to recognize how important it is. So, yeah, I'm super excited to dive into it.
Yes, it is the center of the functional medicine universe, literally the gut. So I'm really excited. It's one of my favorite topics. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I love all functional medicine topics, but gut health is really, really awesome. There's such great learning potential. So
Mhm.
let's get started.
Yeah, let's jump right into it. So first off, why is gut health so important?
Well, so before I was a physician, I think I used to think of, the gut as it's like a tube, right? Like you put food in the top, poop comes out the bottom, and like there's just a tube. It's just this big, massive tubes. And then I learned in medical school that there's a lot going on in there. There are hormones involved. There is obviously assimilation, so taking in nutrients into the body. And so much of that, what we get to power our body or keep our body healthy, is coming from the gut's ability to take and extract things from what we eat. So that was really cool, but that was just kind of like just the beginning of understanding what the gut does. So it's like, yes, nutrition is tied to health. We get our nutrition from our food. A good functioning gut seems like, kind of a duh. Like, of course, we want to have good assimilation of our nutrients. But then what I learned in functional medicine was we have 70% of our immune system is associated with our gut. So it's this immune system tissue that's all along the gut. It's called gut-associated lymphoid tissue, or GALT. We abbreviate GALT. This is an incredible, important part of how we regulate our immune systems, how we keep our immune systems primed and ready for foreign invaders or for things that we're eating or breathing or things that are coming into our bodies. Our gut teaches our immune system how to respond to those things. So there's an incredibly important, paramount aspect of the gut involved in immunity. And I think a lot of people don't understand that the gut is part of the immune system. And the other thing that's really interesting is the gut is highly involved in regulation of hormones. So for example, 70% of our serotonin in our body is manufactured by the gut. Most people think, oh, that's a neurotransmitter. I know about serotonin when I think about things like depression and anxiety, but I didn't realize the gut was actually making most of it. So there's a connection between the brain and the gut that I think a lot of people don't understand. And that's a huge opportunity. There's so much mental health stuff going on out there. A lot of times it is a gut related issue. There's also a nerve that goes from the gut to the brain called the vagus nerve. And so people experience their emotions in their gut, they experience their emotions in their mind, and the two are very much connected. So I think this understanding that the gut is this very complex set of physiological actions that are happening in the body, and that it is not an isolated organ. It is not something that I think traditional medicine likes to take your organs and your systems and break them out into little pieces, like the gut's over here, the nervous system is over here, mental health is over here, hormones are over there. But when you think about it, the gut is conducting this orchestra of all of these organ systems. And we want to think about everything in like a whole person, whole organism kind of way. So the gut's fascinating in that way. And it's a prime example of why functional medicine is so important in terms of understanding some of these issues.
Totally. Yeah. I didn't even realize that with the 70% of serotonin.
I know.
Yeah.
Wild, right?
Yeah. And especially over this past year and a half, when immune system health is such a big.
Oh my God. Yes. Right. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So good to know. And, like we've talked about in the adrenal video too, and just with hormones, it's like, yeah, everything really does go together. So if one thing's out of balance, it's
absolutely. Yeah. And there's just so much research coming out around autoimmunity in gut. I just read an article this week about rheumatoid arthritis, which I have, and gut health signaling as being sort of the original initiator of this autoimmune sort of break in the system. We don't exactly understand all of the steps, but we know that gut health is in there. I mean, we know that there's an insult to the gut that sometimes is the thing that initiates the maladaptive response to autoimmunity. And that makes sense because of all that immune tissue being right there. So there's so much to it, and it's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah. So as a functional medicine doctor, what are some of the common issues you see as far as gut health?
Yeah, great question. I think some of the most common are the things that traditional medicine doesn't do a good job of. So if you think about the traditional medicine diagnoses of irritable bowel syndrome, which always used to bug me, even before I was a functional medicine doc, I was like, what is the irritable bowel syndrome? Like, what's irritating? Like, what's the why? Like, how come? You don't just have a normal gut and then it's irritated. Like, there's a reason, right? So irritable bowel syndrome, both the diarrhea version and the constipation version, which are extremely common, very common in women particularly, and are very debilitating for some people, especially the diarrhea version. I mean, I have patients who, when they were poorly controlled, wouldn't leave their house, wouldn't go to work. It really impacts your life, your self-esteem. So those problems are really very commonly brought to functional medicine. We also see a lot of patients with a condition called Sibo, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And some people don't even know what that is. And they just know that they're bloated all the time. And every time they eat something, their bellies blow up like, the Jiffy Pop popcorn, or like they're 9 months pregnant. They're like, I don't understand. other people don't have this when they eat. Like I become this very swollen, bloated person. Oftentimes that's Sibo, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, bacteria that's in the small intestine where it shouldn't be. And there's a couple of versions of that that really, we can sort that out and we can treat that and make that better. And I think the third sort of broad category is food sensitivities. People who say like, I eat certain things and it bothers me. I'm not really sure if I have a gluten problem or a dairy problem or something else. And I'm trying to figure out how to eat the right foods that agree with me. And part of that is leaky gut, where the gut is, there's supposed to be like tight colon cells up one against one another. And if those gap, proteins that are large can enter into the other side of the colon and be seen by that GALT tissue, that lymphoid tissue, and start making antibodies. And that's what leaky gut is. So food sensitivities and leaky gut are very much tied together. So those are probably the most common things that we see in functional medicine. We do also see people who have, other more severe problems with their gut, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, who are looking for ways to help manage that through a proper diet and lifestyle practices, and then anti-inflammatory things like that. So there's definitely a lot we can do in functional medicine with gut.
Yeah, totally. And as we've discussed, I've got my other bag of issues, but I'm really thankful I don't really have a lot of gut issues. I feel very, very blessed, because I would say over half friends, when we're talking about stuff like this, when we really get into it, I hear from so many women, men too, definitely, but that it is something. And like you said, it's super debilitating, where I have friends who are like afraid to travel and, crossing their fingers that they're going to feel okay on the trip.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, get on an airplane and get in the window seat with irritable bowel syndrome. That'll make you sweat a little bit, So yes, it's a very, very difficult problem to manage. And, people miss work. It's probably one of the most common reasons why people miss work is that they have out of control irritable bowel syndrome and they're too embarrassed to go to work. It's so stigmatizing,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when should someone seek treatment? Obviously, if it is disrupting your life,
Mm-hmm.
work or unable to travel comfortably, but like, what is not normal? Because I think a lot of times with health issues, and again, same with some of the things I was experiencing, people think like, oh, it's just how I am, I have to deal with it. So what is not normal, and when would you tell someone to seek treatment?
Well, I think I think about categories as a doctor. I think about categories of badness, right? So I think of the big, bad, and ugly category, which is, hey, if you're passing blood, or you're losing weight that's unexplained, or you're having abdominal pain that doesn't get better after a day or two, and it's not related to, your period or some other reason, those are really obvious reasons why you'd want to seek out care. And that could be functional medicine care, or it could be traditional medicine care. And then there's this sort of middle category, which is, I have disruptive symptoms like irritable bowel syndrome, what we've been talking about, or gas, or bloating, or I don't think I'm tolerating foods well, or I have bad skin and gut are connected, or I have a medical problem that's just not well managed, and I feel like my gut's part of it. Those are definitely reasons to potentially look at, let's get these symptoms better. Let's solve this problem at the root cause, which is what functional medicine does. Let's take care of this and get it over with and make a person feel better. So that's middle category. And then there's another category, which is, I don't really have any gut symptoms, but I might have autoimmunity, or I might have hormone imbalance, or I might have acne or eczema, or things that seem very disparate from the gut. And I want to optimize my approach to the treatment of the thing. And I want to go and say, like, how much is my gut contributing to that? Even though I'm like, well, it seems like it's okay. That's something that you might want to consider unpacking alongside with the other things that you're managing. And again, traditional medicine tends to really think of the gut as sort of my simple version that I started off with. It's this tube, and if it's going too fast, we'll slow it down. If it's going too slow, we're going to make it go faster. But that's it. And there's so much more. Obviously, now all the people that are listening to this are much smarter than that, and they know that there's so much more to it than that. So getting with a functional or integrative doc can really make a huge difference for all of those categories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what does it look like then when someone comes to you and they are got issues, or again, just really want to optimize their health? I know we did a couple different tests, but again, since some of my friends are going for different reasons, various symptoms, I know there's like a whole wide array of treatment protocols.
Oh my gosh, yes. Where do we start, Justine?
Yeah.
So I think one thing to understand is that every individual person is an individual person. Yes, there are protocols for evaluating things. Yes, there are protocols for treating things, but a person is not a protocol. So when somebody comes in to see us, we are looking at that person as an individual. We are looking at the entire person. We're looking at all of the symptoms that they're having and all of the issues that they have, all of their medical history. We're looking at their family history, maybe looking at their genetic history. There's lots and lots of data that we're taking in that helps us to decide what do we need to do first, second, third, what is the top priority. And then we're looking at their food, we're looking at their sleep, their stress, how much they're moving. So there's a whole lifestyle component to it as well. But some of the common things that we do to evaluate gut health is looking at comprehensive digestive testing. So evaluating someone's poop, which is, not a great dinner time topic, but it's definitely a really great way to look at your microbiome, your really important bacteria, how well you're assimilating foods, if you have any infections that may be getting in your way, yeast or protozoa or bacterial infections that shouldn't be there that are causing a disruption. So really unpacking the digestive process top to bottom. We can evaluate food sensitivities. They can be done off of a finger stick blood test at home, which is great. So you don't have to go to the lab for that. We can evaluate Sibo, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, with a breath test that you breathe into a tube, and we can collect the gases that are coming out and evaluate those for Sibo. So all of this is done at home. We can also do nutrition testing, like how well are you assimilating? What do your vitamin levels look like? Do we have inflammation in the body? All of that can be checked, and we can look at all of that objective evidence, and we can say, okay, what is going on and what isn't going on. It's not always obvious. I mean, I just saw somebody yesterday with gut health issues, and her gut testing was actually quite pristine. It was good. Like we were both surprised, but there were other issues that we were discovering as we were unpacking that if we didn't really take this very comprehensive view, we wouldn't have been able to see that. So again, it's listening to the patient, understanding the patient, what's going on with them, and then choosing the right evaluation from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you guys, just to give you a little more information on Vytal Health too. Again, it is telemedicine, so all virtual. But then you guys have quite a comprehensive team as well. You work with a doctor, but then there's a nutritionist on staff, pharmacist. You can share.
Yeah. So doctors of all different flavors and specialties, which is cool because it's not just a doctor that's close by, it's a doctor that's expert in your area. And then it is, we have a couple of great functional medicine trained nutritionists. So these are not your bread and butter, no pun intended, bread and butter nutritionists. These are highly skilled individuals who operate in the same kind of paradigm as we do. And then health coaching. So if people are trying to lose weight or make changes or sleep better, stop smoking, stop drinking as much, whatever. A health coach to help you set goals and sort of overcome, and also just adapt to some of the recommendations. When we see patients and we're like, okay, you have to go on this very specific diet, this will be the most helpful thing for you. A lot of times that just feels super overwhelming. And it's like, okay, where do I start? And I don't even know what to buy at the grocery store. So having sort of that partner, that boots on the ground person who can say like, okay, here's some recipes, here's a food plan, here's exactly what you should be doing. Here's how you can move from what you're doing now to where we need you to go. Maybe that's not tomorrow. Maybe we need a few days to prep. So it's that real practical kind of hands-on knowledge that really helps. And our pharmacist who's great with supplements, who can advise about like medication and supplement stuff. That whole team of people are a part of our team, and that's what we bring to every single one of our patients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that so much. And I have to say too that some are like, I'm always talking about them and sharing them, but they're so cute. They're in these little packets that are like morning and bedtime with my name, and they come with this whole little printout, and you guys use emojis, so it's all so different from anything I've experienced. It makes it like fun. And then again, in less than 3 months, with it right after our initial consultation, I already had some results just from that, and now less than 3 months on these supplements, and again, things that I was struggling with for so many years, I'm feeling way better. So I can't say enough good things.
Makes me so happy. It makes my heart sing.
Aw.
It really does. I mean, you feel that way too when you help people. Everyone wants to help people. And so it's really, really, really such a great, I feel such gratitude when people feel better. I really do. It's awesome.
Totally. And actually in a couple weeks, 2 weeks or something like that, we're going to be chatting in my membership about creating what you wish existed. But just to chat about that a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
you actually, you're the co-founder of Vytal Health, right?
I am the co-founder. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And it was created out of, something that you really saw as a gap in healthcare and something
Oh, yes. It was the Grand Canyon of gaps. So yes, it was really my experience as a patient. And I'll talk about this more when we talk about this topic specifically, but it was my experience as a patient. I've been a patient my entire life. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition when I was 16 months old, and I still deal with that autoimmune condition. So I have street cred on the patient side. And then I became a physician, and I looked around and I was like, holy crap, this is just as bad. So it's really being on both sides of the stethoscope that allowed me to say, like, okay, wait a minute. There are a lot of things that aren't working here. We could do better. And I think people are just yearning for this connection with a doctor who really literally cares about them, loves them, wants to help them. I just think that's what's dried up and gone missing in healthcare. And I want that as a patient. So I'm literally just thinking, this is a great solution. That's a scalable solution for people to access really high quality doctors who care a lot and can solve problems. Like what else do you need? I mean, so it's my own utopia, and I'm just inviting everyone else into it.
Yes, definitely. Like I said, guys, I can't say enough good things. I mean, it has changed my life because we are not our best selves when we don't feel well. It's like, and that I was so excited to partner with Vytal Health and to share with my community because I said, I share a lot of mindset tips and self-love and all of that. And that's all great. But when you don't feel good, you wake up in the morning and you do not feel good, it's really hard to get behind the mindset stuff because
Totally. Yeah. It's hard to be, people always talk about wellness, which I think is great, but it's hard to be well when you're not feeling healthy. So if your health isn't there, you can't work, you can't take care of your children, you can't be a good partner, you can't, it's a really big barrier. And I think to start with health and get people feeling better, then you can layer wellness on top of that. You can layer your yoga practice. You can go do your meditation. You can go out with your girlfriends and have fun. You can be in the world in the way that you want to be. Health is the cornerstone of that. So I value it as a patient. I know you do with all of your experiences. And probably everyone can relate to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked a lot about gut health today, but what are some quick pro tips that people can implement right away? What are some things that they should be doing for gut health, or things that we should be doing less of or avoiding? Like what really?
So top three in no particular order. One would be observe. So become your own citizen scientist. So it's really helpful for me as a physician when you come to see me with gut health issues that you have some observations. For example, you could say, like, I eat dairy like a crazy person and it's not bothering me. I know it's not bothering me.
That's me.
It's not me. But, like observing, really paying attention to what you're eating, how you're eating. Are you eating fast? Are you chewing enough? Are you like, when does your gut bother you? Is it when you're stressed? Is it at work? Is it when you're with your like least favorite person on the planet? Or is it random? Or does it, so those observations as a patient experiencing the problem are so key and helpful. I mean, so if you have to write it down or put it in an app or whatever, start observing your gut. The second thing I would say is, people are notoriously bad at eating fiber, myself included. It's really hard to get enough fiber in your diet. And so women should be taking in around 25 to 30 grams, and men should be taking in somewhere between like 30 and 35, sometimes 40, depending on who you read. And if you start looking at the fiber content of foods, we're all woefully under that. So you really have to try. And some of my cheater methods are like throw flaxseed in everything, add chia seeds to stuff, eat the higher fiber content version of things instead of the lower, like whole grain things instead of, so really focusing on getting enough fiber. Our microbiome uses fiber as food. And so if we don't feed our microbiome well, there's a whole bunch of other functions of fiber, but that's a really important one. And then the third thing is, two of the substances that the gut least likes are sugar and alcohol. So that doesn't mean that you should never have them. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't enjoy yourself. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't live your life in a wonderful way and eat all those foods. It's just that if we do a lot of that, we drink too much, we eat too much, sugar, it's going to make your gut unhappy, because it just does not cause the right microbiome to flourish. It causes motility issues. So those are three sort of universal recommendations that I can make across the board.
Yeah, so good. And I'm actually like obsessed with talking about fiber. So
Are you? That's so
yeah,
funny.
yeah. Because the more I learned about it, I talk about it a lot in Empowered Eating, because there's so many things that I didn't know about fiber, and it's amazing. So
It's amazing. It's
yeah,
amazing. Yes. It's a good substance.
yeah, yeah. Avocados are super high.
They are super
Yeah.
high. Yeah.
Oh, I always tell people too, I've been a little bit off my smoothie game, but it's really nice because fiber, correct me if I'm wrong, but you could have it like your day's worth pretty much in one shot. It's not like protein where you have to break it up. So if you have a super high fiber smoothie, you can get almost your whole day.
Totally. That's my game, actually. I actually totally load up my smoothie in the morning with all kinds of fiber. And then if I fall off the wagon throughout the rest of the day because I'm too busy to think about eating the right things, I stack the deck at the beginning of the day. Totally. That is a really good game.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Well, this was awesome. And I know it's going to help so many people, because again, I know so many people are affected by these issues, and we're all affected by our gut health in so many ways.
Totally. Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mullen. Always so awesome.
My pleasure, Justine. Thank you for having me. Always glad to talk about poop.
Yes, I'm sure everyone will enjoy it. All right. Well, have a great evening. And we'll be back on soon. We'll be doing a couple episodes in the next couple of months. So definitely look for those. Again, go back and look for that adrenal health one as well, if that's of interest to you. Energy levels, thyroid, adrenals, all of those things. And if you guys are interested in working with Dr. Mullen and the Vytal Health team, I can't recommend them enough. And I'll post it in the link here when I post the live, but I do have a code as well for $50 off your initial consultation. So I will definitely share that. And again, thank you guys for joining us. And thank you so much, Dr. Mullen.
Thank you, Justine. Always great to see you.
You too. Have a great night.
You too. Bye.